Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. We're going to talk about the narcissist's relationship with his daughter, the narcissistic father. Now, before we get into it, I want to thank everyone for the comments that they've been leaving. And believe me, I read every one. And I really appreciate your comments. And continue to let me know how you feel about these messages. All right? And whatever you like for me to get on, if I have experience in it, I would certainly talk about it. What I tell you on this channel is true. It's my truth. And I'm hoping that it will inspire somebody or give somebody information to prevent them from making the same mistakes that I did. So let's go back to the father. The father is the narcissist in this family. Okay. Now he may have one daughter, he may have several daughters or whatever in the family. And of course he has sons. I'm not going to talk about the effect that he has on the sons, although I've seen some effects that he's had. His tactics have had on his son after his son grows up, and leaves the house, and the son gets into drugs and things like that. That comes from the narcissist abuse. But on this video, I'm going to concentrate on the daughter. Now, the narcissist father, he doesn't look at his children with love or anything like that. They are just objects of supply for him. And supply can be given in many ways. If he's in a position, his family are tokens that make him look good. He has the wife and the kids. You see that he shows, and he gets adoration from that if he's in the public domain. Now, this narcissist father, if he's in some sort of position where he's, on some stage to people, he presents himself on, whatever he does, it's on the stage. So now he brings up his family, you see, and he gets praised for, that his family is still together. They look good, the way that he has positioned them. But what he's doing, he's using his family for supply. And if you happen to be in his family, you know the whole ordeal that you have to go through to make that presentation. It's not a normal kind of thing. And I want to get into that, what I mean about that. So let's start from the beginning with this narcissist father and his daughter. Number one, he ignores his daughter. Now the daughter, remember, the daughter's first love in life is her father. Her first love is her father. No matter what kind of father he is, if she knows him, that's her first love. And he is the model for her when she gets ready to mate, to interact with a man. Her model was this narcissist. That was her model. Now, all her life, she's tried to When his love is like that, when his love is not given, because remember, he's a narcissist. He doesn't love himself and he doesn't love anybody. His whole family, his wife, his daughters, his son, they're all supplied to him. That's it. That is all. But the daughter doesn't understand that. She's doing everything that she can think of to please her dad. But nothing works. He embarrassed her in front of people. He criticizes her constantly. And he tries to hold her back from whatever her dreams or aspirations are in life. He tries to put a halt on that because he wants to be in control of everything in the family. Everything in the family must be under his control. Now the daughter grows up with this model, whether it's a good model or a bad model. That's the model of a man that she's grown up with. Her first love. Her first love is very powerful. So it's in the psyche. It's way deep down in the psyche. Okay? Now, watch what I'm saying. The man that she may fall in love with, and most likely will fall in love with, will be her perception of her dad. This narcissist, this demon who mistreated her all her life. All her life. That's her model. She'll end up with her dad because it's familiar. It's in her psyche. She's drawn to her first love. And in her mind, she's thinking, okay, maybe I can do something for this man who's a narcissist, just like her dad. Maybe I can do something with this man and get the love I didn't get from my dad. And we see this all the time, but we don't know what we're looking at. You see girls on the street, hookers walking around, these girls in the strip club, things like that. They have problems with the dad. With the dad. The abuse that the dad puts on a daughter affects her whole soul, her whole livelihood, from the time that she grows up with the dad until the time she goes out in life and meets other men, where she's probably meeting some concept of her dad over and over and over again. Or she just meets him and sticks with the first one. Sticks with the first one and just becomes a punching bag and a supply for him. That's all you're ever going to be. And even the narcissist dad now, he doesn't tell his daughter that he loves her and, you know, and he hugs her. Most times these dads ignore their daughters altogether, and you never get a I love you. You don't get that. You don't get that. You see? But you love your dad, and you're wondering why he doesn't love you. I mean, he makes it obvious that he doesn't love you. And you're doing everything to get that love from him. And if you are fortunate, one day you'll wake up and realize that you're never going to get that from your dad. Never. You don't know why you won't get it. But if you're lucky enough to come to that conclusion that you're never going to get it, you can start to heal from it. Now, for me, I didn't realize that the root of my issues with men came from my relationship with my dad. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That's right. It affects your relationship with any man that you will be involved with. And a lot of women don't realize that. They don't realize that they are engaging with the same man over and over and over again. You see, what I'm trying to get over to you is, if you grew up in a house with a narcissist father, your relationships were all affected by the abuse that you got from your father. And I do say abuse because it doesn't always have to be physical abuse or sexual abuse. It can be emotional abuse. And all of these abuses are detrimental to you and to your soul. It can mold your life in a way that it shouldn't go. You take paths that you wouldn't take if you had a loving father. If you had a loving father, then you probably have a loving mate. You see? Because your father was the pattern of what kind of man you should choose for yourself. You love your father, so naturally you want, and it's in your psyche. It's something that you can't prevent. It's in your psyche that you will be attracted. You will be attracted to a man like your father. You see? So now here you are. Here you are. You know, saying to yourself, you're in a relationship and the person is treating you badly. And you're saying to yourself, well, my own father didn't even love me. So how can I expect some other man to? You'll find yourself saying that to yourself. And so then you'll just keep going down the rabbit hole. Going down the rabbit hole. Because of what this narcissist did to you. As from the time you were born. And just think about if he sexually abused you. Think about that. I was reading something the other day where this woman was sexually abused by her father. In turn, she ended up sexually abusing her own son and having full out intercourse with him. That's right. Of course, in the way that it ended up, the son, he was a young boy who just in high school, couldn't handle it. He ended up killing himself. People handle abuse in different ways, you see. But all of the ways of handling abuse can be tragic. Can be tragic. And the answer to all of that is that you must heal from the abuse before your life will change. You can look, you can do whatever you want to do to change, try to look for a different kind of man, try to do whatever you want to do. But you'll still be meeting the same person again and again until you heal from the narcissistic abuse. And that's why so many of us women find ourselves in these difficult situations. Look at your own family. Look at your own family. And I realize I always talk about the men because I have experience with the men. I didn't have a narcissistic mother, although she suffered from the abuse. See? I remember asking her after I got of some age, I would ask her, why do you take that? Why do you take that? And she, you see? But on the daughter, I guess I was a grown woman when I finally decided that there was no pleasing him, and forget about that. I can't please him. He's never going to be pleased. So I'm gonna be okay with that and go on with my life. But although I turned away from trying to please him, I still was meeting the same man over and over and over again. And when I met the man that I thought I was in love with, was almost identical to the narcissist. That's probably why I fell in love with him. I'm saying now, if I get this man in my psyche, if I can get this man to love me, then I've overcome what I couldn't get from my father. I can overcome it. Somehow I will feel redeemed, released, free, finally good about myself. Thank goodness I learned the lesson from the narcissist. I learned the lesson, you see, and my lesson was that my father was the narcissist, and I carried that abuse, the pain of that abuse, into every relationship by choosing the same narcissist over and over and over and over again. But remember, see, there are different degrees of narcissism. The last one that I fell in love with was a full-out covert DL narcissist. So I guess the universe said, okay, this ought to do it. This ought to open your eyes to what's really going on. And thank goodness it did. Thank goodness it did. So what do you do if you have a narcissist? You still living at home. You're young, and you want your father to love you, but he cannot love you because deep down he doesn't love himself. And everything that you do is got to be about him. And he's still not going to love you when he takes that from you. See? Once you realize that you're never going to get that love from your father, you're on your way to healing. You're on your way to healing. We'll say it that way. Because when I realized that I did feel freer from that. I did feel freer. And I turned away from all things associated with my father. Now, if you're still at home living with your narcissist father, stop trying to please him. It's impossible. Just go along to get along, but try to hold on to some power. Don't try to fight with him. That's useless. And don't try telling him that he's a narcissist and he's this and he's that. Listen, he is being controlled by a demon. And you are talking to the person in charge, which is the demon. Your dad sold his soul somewhere down the line to this demon for whatever reason. So you trying to show this demon the error of his ways is ridiculous and a waste of your energy. It's a waste. The best thing you can do is try to heal yourself from the abuse. Hopefully, before you try to go into another relationship. Or, because that was a relationship with your dad, I mean, that's an ongoing, because if your dad is still living, you know, you're going to be seeing him all the time. But you can stop trying to please him. And that will be one step in your freedom from that abuse. You see? Because every time you try to please him, he's going to ignore it. He's going to either shame you or he's going to ridicule you or something. He's never going to say, oh, you know, thank you so much. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. You are never going to get that. Ever. Now, he may tell other people how he really liked what you did and who you are, but he'll never tell you. He'll never tell you. Because remember, the narcissist, he shows his true face to people who are intimate with him. And, you know, his family knows there's something wrong with him, but they don't know the term. They don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know that they're dealing with a demonic spirit, because he may be in a position, a holy type position, you see, or some, he may be some authority that you wouldn't think that he's a downright demon. These narcissists are everywhere. Now think, if they're fathers, they're fathers. And they are affecting their children. And I'm telling you, the sons, some of the sons may turn out to be just like the dad. And some of the sons, the abuse was so much, they may turn to drugs and alcohol and so on and so forth. Trying to drown out that that abuse, that pain. It's painful. When I went through my healing from my dad, it was a painful process. But again, you have to go within. You have to meditate. Let the universe bring it to you. Bring it to you. And that's how you heal from that. Because how are you going to run off to the synagogue or run off to the church when the narcissist is standing right up there? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You're just going around and around and around and around in circles. That's why when you leave these groups and congregate and you get back to your real life, you still miserable. You're still in misery. You see? Because whatever words that you heard or prayers that you did is you know, I have to take it back sometime because as you get to know me more and more, I'll be more open with you spiritually because I don't want to throw people off, you know. So what I'll do, I will spoon feed you with truth and information as not to offend anyone. Because my intention is to teach, not to offend. So I know, you know, I know I'm getting off the subject a little bit, but I just want to put this in here. I know sometimes my speech can get flowery. It can get colorful. Because the spirit that I walk with, she can get expressive and emotional. But we're here to teach, not to offend anyone. So back to the father, the narcissist. Don't expect him to ever change. Don't expect him to ever change, because him is a demon. Are you getting that in your him? The Jezebel spirit has taken him over. He has yielded to the spirit, and the spirit is in full control of him. That's why the spirit doesn't love you. The spirit wants to destroy you. So that's why he treats the daughter the way that he does. He tries to stop any progress or anything that the daughter loves to do. For instance, the daughter may love dancing or singing. If these things are not benefiting him, then it's no good. He will try to squash it. And he will, because he is the father. He's in control. So he'll find some reason why you can't do that. No, you can't dance anymore and you can't sing anymore. And he'll do the same thing to the boys. If it's not benefiting the narcissist, then you don't need to be doing that. And the poor wife, man, since she married or dated or whatever, he's worked on her until she just putty. She just putty. He wants full control of all of his supply. All of his supply. full control. And he's not trying for anybody to elevate or grow or blossom. He plans to destroy you. Destroy your self-esteem. Destroy your self-worth. These are the things that get destroyed with the narcissist abuse. And here you going out, call yourself meeting and dating someone, not realizing you're probably dating the same narcissist. Your perception of the narcissist. Which means that for face value, you might not see him as being your dad, but it's something about him deep down that reminds you of your dad. You see? It very well could be, he might not be a full-blown narcissist, but he may have some narcissistic tendencies. And you were attracted to that. Because narcissists are attracted to people who they feel like they can control. So if you have daddy issues, you're a prime target. You are a prime target. I'm sure he can sniff those out. He can spot them on spot. You got daddy issues. Yeah, we can do this. And he will continue. Because with the love bombing that he does, now daddy didn't do that. You see? Daddy didn't treat you like that. So you're in heaven, but you still, something about him reminds you of dad. You see, the love bombing, he's giving you all the dad didn't. And see, that's the same thing with the prostitutes. He starts with the love bombing. You see? The love bombing. Letting them know that he loves them. He may say it one time. That's just to get in your pants. Because he feels like that sexual energy, and it does. Now, I'm going to take that feels like. Once he gets you sexually, you are soul tied to him. You are soul tied to him. That gives him more control over your energy, that he can manipulate you like a little puppet. You see, like a little puppet. Now, for his family, you know, he's raised his children have grown up around him, treating them a certain way. So unless they go and see other families, they don't know that there's something wrong with them. They just feel like that's the way it is. And I'm going to keep trying to get dad's love. Dad that can at least say that he loved me one time. My dad never did. And he's passed away now. Never. So, do you see what I'm saying? You can just look around and see many women who have issues with their fathers. And they don't know, they don't understand why. You know? Why? It's because if you had, we'll use the word good. If you had a father that showed you love, supported you in whatever your dreams were, he was there for you. He protected you. And you felt safe with him. If you had a father like that as your pattern, of what a man is. Your pattern of what a man is. When you went out and met a man, naturally, you would be attracted to what a man is that your father showed you. You understand? It's more than just a visual thing. It's a psychological thing. So, if your father was a narcissist, he might not have been a full-blown narcissist. He may have been just had some narcissistic tendencies. If it was narcissistic, I don't know how you can have part of a demon, but it's demonic. So now when you go out, your pattern of a man, that's the only pattern you got. You go out and you look for this pattern of a man. You see? That's why you end up with a narcissist. And, you know, like I said now, he might not be full blown. He may have some traits, you see? But you keep going. You keep going. You see? And if you're fortunate in your life, you'll realize that you're with a narc, and that's why you're having all these difficulties. And running off to the therapist or counselor or whoever, there's, you know, like they have these marriage counselors and couple retreat and all that. See, I'm trying to curb my language because I don't want to offend those, but it's going to come out. I can tell you right now. So I'm going to keep my 18 plus up. Yeah, the point I'm trying to make about the counselors, these couple retreats and all that kind of thing, just remember that a lot of these things are to make money, number one, which means that they don't care if it works or not. They just presenting you with an idea, okay? I don't care if it's, you know, at the church or at the recreational, wherever it is. It doesn't matter. You see, just keep that in mind, because I'm not going to talk down about every retreat or whatever, because I haven't been on every retreat. But the point I'm trying to make here, what the retreats are missing, is that you are dealing with a demonic entity. And no amount of counseling or therapy or retreats is going to change that demon into what you want. So that's a waste. Do you get my point? Do you get my point? Once you realize that this person is an entity, you can live your life with them a whole lot better. But that doesn't mean that you don't want trouble. You don't want to jump up and challenge people and try to tell them, you know, that they're this and they're that and whatever. Number one, like I said before, the entity doesn't care what you say. They're going to deny it anyway. The entity does not care what you say. The entity has an intent to destroy. You see, so whatever you say or do or whatever to try to change this person, it's never going to happen. And once you understand that, your life will begin to change. There are other things that need to be done, but it's a beginning. It's a beginning. So I'd like to know what you thought about this, about the father-daughter relationship. Because believe me, so many of us women have been affected and been abused by the father narcissist. Now, he might not have been your natural father. He might have been your mama's boyfriend or friend or what. He was the father figure to you growing up. You understand? He was the father figure to you growing up. So don't get confused saying, oh, my father, I don't even know who he was. He wasn't around. Whoever your father figure was, if he was a narcissist, it affected you in a negative way. And you have to heal from the abuse before you can even think of having a happier life. Right. 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 It was an evil trauma that happened to you. Trauma. And trauma affects people in different ways. But the examples I presented, about the prostitutes, the strippers, and all of that. It's a shame. It's a shame. But it all goes back to the father figure that these girls grew up with. You see? And what happened, I'm going to tell you, when I was in college, I had, because these spirits are very intelligent, believe me, extremely intelligent. So they see you coming. They know that you have already been, abused. They can feel it. They already know it. They'll come up to you. I was approached on several occasions to do nude film, and these demons will tell you, don't worry about it, nobody ever know, and all this. You see how easy women can slip into something like that if you have low self-esteem, low self-worth, no, you didn't get love from the man that you love, your first love didn't love you, and you see him all the time and he still doesn't love you. That's how these things happen. That's how these things happen. So, ladies, if you live with a narcissist and your father was probably a narcissist, but now you got a daughter who's in this circle here. Now the narcissist, y'all just supply, so don't get it confused. He would take advantage of any of you to get what he needs. Any of you. So now you want, your eyes are kind of opening, but you don't want your daughter to choose the same kind of man. You may say, don't choose a man like your dad, because, my situation, I always said as a young girl that I never wanted to have a man like my dad. And guess what? Every man that I had was just like my dad in some way. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if you sit around and say those words are empty words, because this abuse is deep in your psyche, is deep in you, and it has to be healed before you can go past that. Okay? So I'm going to end it here. And again, I hope that I've said something that can help someone. And continue with your comments. I appreciate you sharing your information with me. And anything that I have experienced in this way, I will share with you. And I hope to see you next time.